Well, Congressman Steve Scalise throwing a curveball in the search for a new House Speaker. Scalise announcing he is withdrawing from the race for Speaker, with this paving the way for Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan to make another run for the position. Here with more, let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman. Rick, the magic number is 217, right? I mean, who's closest right now to getting that?
Nobody. Maybe you should try for the job, Akiko, or maybe they should just have every Republican try on, one day after another. Steve Scalise was the Republican nominee for like 5 seconds because in an internal vote, just among Republicans, he got more votes than Jim Jordan did. But he didn't have any pathway to getting all the votes he needed. And just as a reminder to people, assuming there are no Democratic votes for a Republican speaker, which is custom, basically. Then whoever the Republican is needs every vote, every Republican vote except for 4. That person can only afford to lose 4 votes because Republicans have such a narrow minority. And I think it was 8 Republicans who voted against McCarthy. So those 8 holdouts have not signaled that they are willing to give their vote to another candidate. And I mean, we could just keep going on and on through all these scenarios. But I mean, the bottom line here is that we do not seem any closer to having a Speaker of the House than we did whatever it was 9 or 10 days ago when Republicans fired their own leader, Kevin McCarthy. And there's important stuff that Congress needs to do that it's not doing.
Rick, ultimately, this is about the fractures that's happening within the Republican Party or the House GOP. But where do the Democrats stand right now? I mean, are there any names out there within the GOP that they could potentially throw their weight around or throw their weight behind?
I don't think it's a matter of the name. It is a matter, I mean, that is a way out of this. Remember, to win the speakership in the House, you just need a simple majority of the vote. But it has long been the custom that the minority party never gives any votes to the speaker for the majority party. The Republicans did that when Democrats had control, and that is just the way it works. So what might it take to get some Democratic votes? Well, whoever becomes the nominee in this scenario would have to offer Democrats some concessions. It would be legislation that Democrats want to see get through that they would never be able to get through if Republicans have a true majority and they just kill all Democratic initiatives, which is what normally happens. Remember, Democrats do control the Senate. So if you could get some concessions to Democrats, you could have this is a wild prospect but the idea that you could have Democratic legislation that passes in the House where Republicans have a majority, that at the moment is less tolerable to Republicans than just this sort of ongoing chaos within their party. But if this does get to a real crunch point, and it could be the government shutdown that's looming when those temporary spending bills expire in the middle of November. But I think more than that, if there is a need to pass some legislation providing more aid to Israel, that could be a forcing function that leads to this bipartisan scenario in the House. But I think that is almost beyond a last resort for many Republicans, and Democrats would just be gleeful about that because, I mean, the minority party never has that kind of power in the House, and that would be an unprecedented win for Democrats. So I think we're still far away from that, but we're not closer to any other solution either.
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, you've got sort of a long list of things, the agenda getting more and more packed. And as you mentioned, November 17th coming up pretty quickly as we continue to see this play out over in the House. Rick Newman, as always, thanks so much.
Yeah, Kiko.